Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to give a small presentation on a portion of work that I did in Burkina Faso, which is located in West Africa. I did a bit of a survey looking at the perspectives of Burkina Faso citizens, which are Burkinabe, on genetically modified mosquitoes. So a little bit of an introduction. Malaria is a very debilitating and a very high mortality rate within the world population. Malaria is about 300 to 500 million have infections per year and about 1 million deaths. It's really transmitted by a vector of genus Anopheles. There are current measures that one can take with bed nets, personal protection, insecticides, and anti-malarial drugs. But there is a bit of a gap or an opening for future research dealing with using mosquitoes as a way to inhibit the transmission of malaria. So in Burkina Faso in particular, there are about 16 million individuals at risk. Mostly if children are of the higher risk population that do die or have very high mortality rate. This particular survey that I went to was a small village in Bandakwi. Well, the name is Bandakwi. And I chose this particular village because it's very, it has been introduced to a biotechnology through the form of BT cotton. Cotton, this is a type of cotton, you have your traditional cotton that you can just grow, but then you have a cotton that has been engineered to prevent certain arthropod pests from damaging that crop. So in Africa, there has not been many introductions of a biotechnology, and specifically in Burkina Faso, only cotton of a biological modification has been introduced. So this village was kind of familiar with the idea of biotechnology. So the study design was a questionnaire of a quantitative and a qualitative outlook. There was public survey as well as interviews with different organizations regarding the introduction of BT cotton. Now, how this correlates with my interest in genetically modified mosquitoes was trying to understand if there was perhaps some kind of overlap. How did Burkina Faso as a country involve their citizens in the type of discussions and the possibility of using BT cotton, and how in a hypothetical, very hypothetical situation, how would this work out for genetically modified mosquitoes? So, seeing that this is women in science and going into a village where the producers as well as the wives of the producers, they work together. If you have a certain plot of land, your whole family works to bring a profit to the family. So I felt it was important not to just interview individual farmers, but also include the women who also work in the fields doing this particular harvesting. So here's just a little quote of some of the information about BT cotton. And this quote, it says, "You get tired with your husband in the cotton fields, and in the end of the day, you get nothing. You must get dressed, you must eat, you can fall ill, but with BT, men have nothing. Even if you fall ill, they take your treatment expenses." There was a lot of some people enjoyed BT cotton, some people did not enjoy this type of technology. But women, I found in this village, definitely had a say in whether they're going to harvest this type of cotton or not harvest. In the topic of BT and farming, family advantages, the beginning in nature are related to the beings in nature are related to each other. For example, without grass, animals won't be able to feed themselves. Without animals, man won't survive. So the importance of the environment and relating to humans was very well understood, and how would that relate to genetically modified mosquitoes? Well, a lot of people do not agree that mosquitoes are important. And you'll see that mosquitoes are only nuisances. I know mosquitoes cause malaria, bring bumps to the skin, and carry other diseases. But as far as how genetically modified mosquitoes could possibly aid in preventing malaria and the ways in which it could be introduced, meetings must be organized to talk to people about it. For example, the mayors and the health centers can change themselves of that, or put themselves in charge of that. The mayor can gather people, and the mayor will explain to them the work to do. People trust the mayor. If it is said by the mayor, people will give it more importance. Organizational thoughts. This was from one particular organization and how their ideas on genetically modified mosquitoes. The population may be very receptive to genetically modified mosquitoes against malaria, but may voice concerns that genetically modified mosquitoes can transmit other diseases as a mythical truth. It is important to continuously inform the population with correct and factual information. So I'm actually going to skip this particular slide. But in general, what I gathered is some of the important parts of BT cotton, as well as the hypothetical integration of genetically modified mosquitoes, was that the public was just very concerned about the environmental safety that is non-hazardous to themselves, their family, that it would not bring on additional costs to them, a community approval, as well as an open dialogue between themselves and scientists, between the government. As far as the organizations that were interviewed, making sure that certain myths or the misinformation was corrected. And there's always, of course, the concern of lack of autonomy. So when you release mosquitoes, it's not, it's a collective agreeing or not agreeing. One doesn't really have a choice. So thank you for your attention.